I guess just one quick one and a longer one. A quick one is politics were mentioned, and I'm just wondering, nationally and even statewide, how much lobbying does the food industry, which doesn't want to go green in any way, have against all the things we're talking about? My second big question is, Adam just mentioned climate change, and I mean, what's going to happen to so many parts of the country that are already being affected, this country, to say nothing about other countries, in terms of producing food. You know, in some cases, someone talked about, you know, changing the cycle or having a longer cycle for growing. But we're talking about, you know, kind of devastation. Where do we put all that, and where do we put the people who have nothing and come here as refugees? I mean, we're talking about maybe not just, you know, we're talking about 9.5 million people. Well, how many of them will be here? And what do we do? I mean, how do we sustain all of these problems, issues, humanly? I mean, in a human sense.
That's a good last question.
I mean, I think the food industry at every level wields a tremendous amount of power, and you know, at the federal level, at the city level, when the mayor was trying to get calorie counts, there was a tremendous amount of pushback. You know, in contrast, when the health department in the city started regulating sausage production in restaurant basements, there was barely any lobbying force, and this was, you know, something that people were willingly doing and willingly eating. So that's sort of what I was getting at earlier in terms of where the city is willing to put their priorities when it comes to food decisions. In terms of dealing with climate change, you know, there's a long list of adaptation measures that the city's obviously going to have to take. The fact that Lower Manhattan was evacuated last year during Hurricane Irene, I think, was unfathomable, and you know, the hurricane didn't even hit the city. So I think it's a strong argument that food production needs to be encouraged everywhere, locally, on rooftops, in the region, etc., because it's unclear how climate change is going to affect every little area. And so our best hedge in many ways isn't to only produce food in Mexico or Africa or the United States, but to produce it everywhere, in my opinion.
But not just New York now, we're talking about, you know, the rest of the country. And,
Thank you, everybody, and thank you very much to our panelists tonight. It's been a long day.